All right, and we are live. Hello to my audience of zero at the moment. I'm gonna pretend like there's at least someone listening somewhere. But welcome, Chris. I'm again. We're not gonna address the name of your Avi, but welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. So I'm not gonna we're gonna get straight to the point on this. So this stream is mainly just gonna be about celebrating the players that have been doing bits, as the Brits like to say, so far this season. Where we're reaching early December, we're about 13 games into the season. We're kind of at the point right now where the season's starting to kind of take shape a little bit. I wouldn't say fully yet, just because um, the table is still really, really congested, which is really funny to watch. But we're really starting to build some narratives. Um, I guess before we can even get into the actual starting 11 itself, let's just kind of go. I just wanted to go over a couple of kind of just see where we're at right now. For everything. So hold on, just give me a second. I'm just gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up the table. And I guess first thing I want to ask you, Chris, is there anything that stands out to you, given your expectations in the beginning of the season? It could be more than one thing. Okay, so looking at where we're at right now.
Mm. Okay, I can't see the table, but I'll look on
Oh,
my phone.
does it not show it on the?
Well, I can't see it, but it's okay. I'm still looking at the table on my other phone.
Okay.
I think like two things stand out to me. Number one, well, probably more than two things. Number one, Liverpool leading the pack, of course, very early with a sizable gap. Like, for as much as I don't know if you've been seeing in the chat, like I haven't for at least the first 2 3 months. I wasn't willing to call Liverpool the favorites just because I don't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect from Arne Slot, because he's from Holland. I didn't watch the Dutch league. I'm not going to pretend like I did. And all these Twitter threads from these tacticos, I'm not going to take that as gospel. So I'd rather see what he does for my own team and then judge from there. So I was always like very hesitant to say favorites at any point. But I think at this stage, with how terrible City look, we're comfortable enough for me to suggest now at this point we are the favorite. So that's one thing that stands out. Liverpool comfortably leading the pack. Second thing is Chelsea. Like last season and the season before, like this is like a 2 year thing period for me. Like I still look at Chelsea as the team that Todd B and Clear Lake bought. They bought like 30 players, and it was a whole bunch of chaos at the beginning. A whole bunch of managers got sacked, and then this is still my personal position that Poch inherited chaos, and he wasn't perfect. He made a lot of mistakes, but there was a level of weathering the storm that came with his presence there. And sure, maybe he did need to leave. Maybe someone else needed to take over to be even better. Who knows? But that's bearing fruit right now. You guys look even better right now, and that's also another surprising thing. Like Chelsea as an offensive team looks scary. Defensively, there's a lot of room for improvement, like personnel wise. But so far, yeah, Chelsea looks scary. So like those are like the three things that stand out particularly. Like with the third thing, of course, being City being terrible. Oof.
Yeah, and just to kind of continue from there, so other things that stand out to me is I don't know where the hell Nottingham decided to get this form from. They're right now they're fifth in the table, 2 points behind
Mm,
Manchester City. Aston Villa, I thought they were going to fall off a lot worse than they have, even
mm,
despite the poor form that they've kind of been on before these last two games. Brentford being an offensive powerhouse was not in my bingo book, to be honest. Between Vissa
mm,
and and Bueno just kind of like, just doing bits this season. And
Yeah.
Bueno's goal today was crazy, where he kind of like cut inside like he was Cameroonian Iron Robin. Brighton kind of recovered from last season. I know there was a lot of talk of what they were going to do, especially after they got rid of De Zerbi, who, to be fair, is doing pretty decent in France himself with Marseille. But they've also been performing well this season. I think they've I know obviously they beat City, which is a standout result. But I'm not sure. I think they beat Spurs as well.
Brighton.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, they beat Spurs. They beat Spurs. They beat Newcastle. They beat City.
Yeah, so beating legitimate teams. Spurs. Speaking of Spurs, inconsistent. Can't for some reason struggle to really break down low block teams. Have really poor rest defense, and that's really kind of what's been biting them in the ass this season. And it's even funny because like if you look at their GD, it stands out so much more than pretty much all the teams around them. But it's always just key moments that their players screw up on, and that's what usually does them in.
True.
Obviously, United 13th, hilarious.
I actually forgot about them.
I mean, like I said, I think Amorim is going to come good overall, but obviously the season is just going to have to be about for them, just kind of like figuring out what he wants to start his future with in terms of who's going to be there and stuff. And then kind of moving on to.
Wait, sorry. Before you move on, I don't know if he's going to come good. Not because he's not a good coach or anything, but like it's been 11 years, going on to 12 years since Man United have won the league, and they've consistently been changing it up every 2-3 years, not giving anybody patience. Every 2-3 years, like it's always volatile, So I wouldn't be shocked if it was another volatile period for the next 2.5 years, because the fans, like, I doubt collectively they'll be willing to wait to be successful. There'll be like a lot of noise during the come up.
I kind of like what he's been doing so far with these guys in terms of like I think offensively, like you can already tell just like the difference in terms of not even just their goals, but their ability to create, like their passing patterns. So I think there's a base there, and obviously like the team itself is just not up to the level. And I think especially with Ineos coming in, like I know obviously their transfer window hasn't bore fruit yet, but I do think I still do think that their business this summer, for the most part, was decent outside of Ugarte and Xerxes. So especially now that they actually have a manager that they presumably are going to back for the immediate future, at least. I think especially if they keep him around and then actually like develop the squad. I think they'll be at least a good force in about, I would say they probably give it like 18 months to 2 years. So, but obviously that remains to be seen. So, I mean, yeah. And then kind of moving on to kind of some player statistics that pop out. So obviously, are you still not able to see like my screen? Because I have the screen sharing on right now.
Yeah, no, I can't see. All I see is SKFC. That's it.
Hey, are you like on the phone or something?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay, I don't know because I never really stream it on the phone, so I don't really know how that compares to when you do on the desktop. But yeah, so
because in general, like even because I always use it on my phone, but like when I'm on other streams, I still see when people share whatever they're doing. So
okay, then I guess I don't know what to say then. But right now, I'm just looking at the top scorers list because I kind of just want to get like a good feel for everything before we kind of start. So right now I'm looking at the top scorers list. So obviously Renan Haaland and Salah are both top of the list at 13 goals. You have Chris Wood at 10 goals. You have Vissa, Palmer, and Mbeumo all on 9, and then Nicholas Jackson on 8, and then Cunha, Watkins on 7, and Isak on 6. So kind of like looking at the top scorer list, the names that stand out to me that you don't really expect to see there is obviously Chris Wood with a crazy start to the season. Vissa
Mm.
9, and Bueno in 9. Even Nicholas Jackson's been improved with his 8 goals, and then Cunha has also been kind of, because I think he had a hat trick a couple weeks ago on
Yeah.
goals. So, and then looking at the assist charts, Saka on 10, Salah on 8, Palmer on 6, Diallo on 6, which is surprising. I did not realize that. Fernandez on 5, and then kind of some other more under the
Whoa,
table.
what? Ahmed has 6 assists. That's
See,
crazy.
that's why it's always good. That's why it's always good to go through these charts, man.
Yeah.
Before we say anything, but yeah. So far, looking at least for the offensive players, what kind of stands out to you in terms of players that you are surprised to see? Because obviously, players like Salah, Haaland, Cole Palmer, their names being there is not really like a shock in the system. So
Okay, so I'll start off with this one guy. It's a little bit of a shock, not necessarily like the total goals he has so far, but how clinical he's been. Like Nicholas Jackson, like I've been like very. I don't think I've been super harsh, but I've been like very firm on him. Mainly because people say he's this great striker and stuff. So like I'm looking through those lenses. I have been a little harsh on him, that like, but there's like a level of growth that he's showing to me, at least this season. That even though previous game he missed like a bunch of chances, he still scored. He's still showing that like over time he's consistently getting a little better and better and better. The decision making is better and better and better. His overall game has always been good, with room to be like great, but him as a striker, him leading the line to provide the goals. Like we're only in match week 14, going to 15 by the end of the weekend. He's already on 8, which is over half of what he had last season. So he's projected to me to getting like 20 if he maintains this pace, which I think isn't unrealistic. I think he can actually maintain it because
well,
the
I
team
think
that he's
too,
in. Mhm.
to give Jackson some more credit is I think what's really been impressing me about him is specifically some of the chances that he's scored are chances that last year he would have definitely missed. Like I
Miss.
think of the goal against West Ham where he
Mm.
specifically the one where he put it through the goalie's legs. That's the type of shot where he would have just blasted the goalie's face last year.
Yeah.
Or even more impressively, the one he scored against you guys. When Chelsea lost to Liverpool.
Yeah. Like
Like
bro, that goal was so quality. I don't think people realize like he ran Van Dijk's blind spot, and then he got to the 1v1 situation in clinical.
especially because I think he shot it with the outside of his foot as well, right?
Mm.
So, because again, it's one of those things where being able to finish those chances that you have that requires more thinking before you get there. Just kind of being able to make a decision and stick to it, I think, is specifically what I've enjoyed about been the major difference between him this season. Because I'm not really the type to take every single big chance a striker misses and be like, oh, like why aren't you scoring all of these? But it's more so about you commit to your ideas once you've decided to do it, and whatever happens after that is what happens. You know what I mean? So, shout out to him in that sense. Shout out to Big Chris Wood, obviously. Dude's been doing his thing. A big part of the reason why Non-Force has been as high as they've been. And Non-Force are just a funny team too, because they're a team that they don't really rely on possession like that. They're just defensively resolute. Well, at least for the most part, until the last couple games. And they're a team that just kind of makes the most out of the opportunities that they get presented.
That they get. Yeah. Yeah, nah, for sure. Chris Wood, she's having a revelation of the season. Like, funnily, in the last, I think it's like been 7, 8 years that he's been in and around the league, getting like 10, 11, 12 goals almost every year, unless his team gets relegated and then he moves on to another Prem team. Then you repeat the same thing, like, so he's been for lack of better term, a Barclays type of striker. But this season, he's on a whole different mission.
Well, because even last year he got 15 in 14 in the league. Because I remember last year I think he got like a hat trick against. I don't remember if it was Bournemouth or Newcastle. He got a hat trick against somebody, and I think the very underrated thing about him is before that, people forget that the dude was frauding his life away for the last like 3 years. Like, 3 goals for Burnley. I remember he went to Newcastle when they first got their new owners, and they were just spending like stupid money on anybody. He didn't really do much there either. And then when he got to Nottingham, like he wasn't really doing much there either. So the way he's kind of just revived his career over the last 2 seasons, or I guess more like season and a third at this point, has been remarkable. And then kind of going over some more of the players with different roles. So I was looking over at because I think I told you this, right? When it comes to creativity, I care more about when it comes to how to measure creativity, I care more about like stuff like expected assists and big chances created and all that kind of stuff. A very, very underrated player this season has been Dwight McNeil, actually, of Everton.
Sure.
I know it's the most like random name, especially because like not even just the chance creation, like all of his goals have been like outside of the box this season, and clearly Everton are not a team that scored that many goals, so it's always valuable when you kind of come up for your team in big moments. But don't worry, I won't bore you any longer. We're about to get to
no, it's true. Like Dwight, like I'm not like a huge fan of him or anything, but he is one of those players that clearly has talent, has unfortunately consistently been a part of like trash teams. Like he was at Burnley for a while, and you could see he's like a bright spark there. And then he goes to Everton. You would think, oh, Everton, a lot more resources, but they've been dross in their own right in terms of like attacking philosophy and like just imposing their own will. They've been terrible for some reason.
Honestly, look, I wanted to, because I'm trying to do more I won't say documentary style, but like kind of more retrospective videos. I was thinking of doing one on good old Carlo Ancelotti when he was at Everton for some reason. So I think that'll be interesting to go over. But yeah, no, Everton have been a funny ass team because the only other real attacking player that they have that I somewhat rate at the moment is I think this is like Cameroonian winger. I think his name is like Ndiaye or something like that. Like from the little I've watched of him, he's one of those players that will always cause a problem for the opposition in terms of just being a really good dribbler, and he makes really strong powerful runs. Almost kind of like a Morgan Rogers type of player, but with like less creativity. It's probably the best way I would describe it. But
and he's Senegalese, Iliman Ndiaye.
Oh, that's what. Okay, yeah, wrong country. My bad. But okay, so now we're down to the main event, Chris. So, team of the season so far. The first thing we need to decide is what lineup are we going to go with?
My favorites, just because apparently I'm biased to attacking players, but I think everyone should be biased to attacking players to at least a small degree. Because to me, they're the best players in the team. They're the best players in the world. As a general, there's always exceptions to the rules, but as a general. So personally, I prefer a 4-2-3-1 to shoehorn in as many offensive-minded players as possible. I could say a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, but I'd probably prefer a 4-2-3-1 because I think there's a good amount of number 10s or wingers that can play in the 10 that can play there.
I'm also a fan of that formation, but more so because I think it just probably has like the best balance. You still have your 2 pivots. You get a nice front 4. You have a little bit more, what's it called, versatility with how you want to balance up the pivots. You want 2 straight up DMs. You want a DM and an 8. Like, do you not care about your life? You just have 2 attacking 8s or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So, but how do I change the formation on this thing?
So I don't know if it's different with
never mind, I found it.
The laptop. Yeah, but I don't know if it's different with the laptop, but on my phone when I change, so even before changing the formation, I think you can toggle with each position and you can actually just do it on your own. You can actually.
Oh, don't worry. As soon as I was able to get it. So
but I would just say like for future reference. So as soon as you like add a player, you can move him around. I don't think it's like strictly staying there
Okay,
if you don't want him to.
that's good to know. So for starting obviously with goalkeeper.
But question.
Yeah.
Just in case it's not just me that can't see the screen. What if there's like a small chance that the viewer wouldn't be able to see it?
I checked the stream on YouTube, and
Mm.
it was showing up on there. So
Okay.
yes, I don't know what's going on, but
Okay. Nah, that's fine then.
yeah, because that would be crazy if I'd actually feel like I feel like a foolish goat. But what was I saying? Yeah, so starting with goalkeeper. So I think the kind of obvious options here is we have your boy Kelleher. I would also say probably you have some other options before I list them. For goalkeepers that you think have been immense good this season so far.
Kelleher's been good now, but I'm not gonna say you should add this person just because he's been very injury prone. But in the time that he was here, to me, he was the best, and it wasn't even close. And his replacement has been good, but he hasn't been as good as him, which is Allison. Like it's easy to forget because he hasn't played in like 7-8 weeks, but he got injured after match week 6-7, and he had only conceded 1 or 2 goals. And it's not just not conceding; he's saving high value chances. Like he's consistently making the right decisions. He's super reliable. So just as an honorable mention, I'd put him in. Maybe at the end of the season, if he doesn't get injured again and he plays 25 to 30 games, maybe, but just as an honorable mention. But
yeah,
him aside,
I was gonna say because I rate Allison very highly. Generally one of my favorite goalkeepers. But yeah, I think he's only played 5 matches. So
which 6,
is about a third, which is still a third of the season. So I was thinking for the players I was going to reference here was obviously Kelleher was going to be an option. I was thinking Raya,
Flecken.
Onana, and
Onana, yeah, sure.
Kind of basically between them, Sells, who's the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, and then Pickford. Which I know Pickford.
I think Pickford.
The only reason
I
why
think he's a bum, bro. I think he's a bum. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but to be fair, I think this season, especially when you consider he obviously has the worst set of defenders by far, because I think he has as many clean sheets as pretty much everyone on the list, barring Onana, who has 1 more. And when you also kind of look at the quality of chances that Everton give up, I at least thought it was good to mention him, even if he wasn't going to make the list. And to be honest, overall, I was probably going to go with I was probably going to go with Onana, to be honest, as my choice. Even though I know obviously he was terrible today, but I think overall though, I think he's been really good this season, especially.
Yes.
Man United have been horrendous, especially
they have.
So yeah, he was.
But I'm not gonna lie though, Onana's been really good. But for me, Brentford, it's very easy to just look at Mbuemo. It's very easy to just look at Wisa. But Flecken, Brentford's defense has been terrible all season. And Flecken, he's the biggest reason why they're not losing games while they're conceding so many chances. Almost every game.
I'm looking at him right now. 78 save percentage is actually insane.
Yeah, Flecken has been really good all season.
So I guess,
but I'm not mad at.
I think the thing with him is that because when I look at what's it called? When I look at Man United and I look at Brentford defensively, right? obviously,
Mm,
Brentford's conceded like 10 more goals than Manchester United
mm.
have. But I guess the question is, how many more goals? Like, how many more goals is Onana saving for Man United? I guess versus how much Brentford's goalkeeper is saving for them, and then
Mm.
two, because how good is on two? Because I think Onana has also been important in terms of like their built-up play as well. So, but obviously, like that's not really priority number one for a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
But that's a
yeah.
good
But
shout though.
I'm not. I'm not
I
mad. Yeah,
did.
I'm not mad at Onana being in that though.
Is he in here? Yeah, there he is. All right, so I'm gonna put Onana in here as the goalie. So for our center back pairings, what do you want to go with? Who do you have in mind, Chris, for center back?
It's a bit tricky, eh? It's a bit tricky because part of me just wants to put both Van Dijk and Kunate in, but another part of me is also like, what's his name? Gabriel. Although I don't value this like most people. He's been scoring a lot of goals, but he's also been very solid. Like he's been extremely good this season. Saliba's always very good, you know. Uh, outside of those four, which other candidates? I don't think I would look at like a small team outside of what's that dude's name? The guy that has like a Croatian name. Is it
Wait, has
a
a what name?
I think he has like a Croatian name. Is it like Milenkovic or something?
Yeah, for on Nottingham.
Yeah, for Nottingham. I think maybe him as like a honorable mention, but to me, putting him in a team of the year with higher quality defenders is hashtag woke. Unless Forest finish like fifth, then it's like okay, maybe honor at least one player.
Well, the thing
But
with Force though is that like for as good as they have been, yeah, obviously like when your team concedes like possession like consistently, like it's going to be easier to as a defender because even though you're going to have more pressure on you, you're also probably going to be just more set up to like forward in the first place. Like you know what I mean?
mm,
Um, but like I guess when I kind of look at the options, yeah, I do honestly, I would go with probably Gabriel and Van Dyke as my pick to be honest,
mm,
as my pairing. But like I said, also I'm also not mad at Kunate either. I also think Murillo's also been really good. If I were to kind of look at some other options, I really like the look of what's it called? Of what's his face? The Chelsea guy. Not Fofana, but the light skinned boy. Well, they're both light skinned, but you get my point. Colwell.
Colwell.
I also think he's been really good too, but I do think he just has a couple many mistakes in him, at least for right now, to iron out before I could honest to God, put him in these conversations. Yeah, so I'd probably go with Van Dijk and Gabriel as my options.
Mm. Yeah, not fair, fair. Although personally, Van Dijk's better than Kunate, but I think Kunate has been performing better this season. But Van Dijk's still been great. That I'm not mad at like him being in this stuff because when I see the role that Kunate plays, which is he's literally a space eater. This dude is consistently championing every single channel. Anytime he's got to chase somebody, anytime a ball's played behind, he's always the one recovering, regardless of if it's played behind him or Van Dijk. Like
Oh
he's
yeah, like
doing
I think his
so
his
much.
role as being the the channel runner is so vital, and honestly, that's literally how Newcastle scored. I think it was that second goal on
Mm,
Wednesday, because I think it was Joe Gomez that couldn't get across
yeah.
to I forgot the player that ended up getting the assist for the goal, but that's the kind of thing that Kunate would have been able to eat up. So yeah, no, he's definitely been immense this season. Um, ugh. I apologize. I have to like cut the stream short because I have to go. It's the what's it called? It's the challenges of not having your own place. I have to go do something. But if I'm able to be back, I'll just like restart from here. Would you be able to join back?
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right, I apologize about that, but
No problem.
okay.